So, it's sort of been a year since I last uploaded, and Fighter Pass 1 just came to an end, and we just got more info on Fighter Pass 2, so, hi? Hello everybody, my name is Hob Hunks, and after over a year's hiatus, I'm back once again to talk about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because, what else do I do with my time? Smash Ultimate is entering its second Fighters Pass, having just been announced, in getting more details with it with the reveal of Byleth as the final character in Fighter Pass 1. Time sort of flew over. I was hoping to upload more frequently, but then university hit me like a gosh dang truck. I'm fully graduated now and stuff, and working in the profession I train for, so I'm like over the moon with that. But I still wanted to keep my upload schedule sort of consistent, and I didn't do that. So sorry about that. That was something I really did want to keep up with. Just quickly, I'm going to run over my thoughts on what I thought of the first Fighters Pass, because I realised I didn't really give my full thoughts. So, lightning round. Here's what I thought of every newcomer from Fighter Pass 1. Joker, really cool surprise reveal at the start. I like how he plays, and I think he's very, very strong. Arsène's a bit silly, but really cool character nonetheless. Hero, not too overwhelmed by him when he was announced in the Direct. Not too terribly overwhelmed by him when I play him now. In terms of competitive, which I do play, I don't think he really has a place. I think he's a bit silly, a bit stupid, but whatever. Dragon Quest, at the end of the day, is a pretty iconic franchise, and I suppose deserved a rep. Banjo and Kazooie, my most wanted for Fighter Pass 1, my most wanted character for Smash, and they got in. I dropped King K. Rool, my previous main, for them, and I have been loving them ever since. I am so happy they're finally here, and love how they play. I can't even put into words. I just love the fact that they're actually in the game. Terry Bogard. I wasn't incredibly excited about him when he got revealed. I just thought, oh, Ken in a hat, because I didn't know anything about him. But he's a character to me that's aged like fine wine. Terry is so fun to play. He's so cathartic, just to go for it. I find him the funnest of all of the Shotos, and his inputs for Buster Wolf and his power guys are just so satisfying to hit. Terry's really, really cool to play, and I like him a lot. Byleth. In a pass full of third-party characters where people were incredibly excited to see which really cool third-party character would be capping off the Fighters Pass, they chose the 8th Fire Emblem character, tying it with Pokemon to be the second most represented series in the entirety of Smash. Byleth is fun enough to play. If I had to pick a Fire Emblem character to actually start playing legitimately, I would probably pick Byleth, but at the same time, what a dull, uninteresting way to end the first Fighters Pass. Byleth just was announced at the wrong time, and I feel like the vitriol that came, regarding their release wouldn't have been as big if they were a part of what I'm going to talk about in a minute. So there we have it. That's all my reactions to all the different fighters from Fighter Pass 1, and now I want to talk to you guys about Fighter Pass 2. We're going to be getting 6 characters this time around, and I thought I'd just make a little video talking about who I think / hope are going to make it into this Fighters Pass as part of DLC Pack 2. Before I get into the list proper, I just want to go over a couple of characters who I think potentially could have made it into Fighter Pass 2, but for one reason or another, I don't think are going to be making it after all.
Leon S. Kennedy.
Leon was a character I thought was definitely going to be in Fighter Pass 1, but then that Resident Evil Spirits event had to come in and kick his chances square in the gonads. While I'm not entirely convinced anymore that base game Spirits deconfirm, Spirits that came out during the DLC pass pretty much kill chances, I think, if that's good. Pretty much kill a character's chances, and unfortunately, Leon and a lot of the viable Resident Evil characters, except for Claire Redfield and Nemesis, funnily enough, were kicked square out of contention in my book by that Spirits event.
Gino.
Gino's a fan favourite who people have been wanting to be in Smash for absolutely ages at this point, but I don't think his fate is to be a playable character. While it's entirely possible that he becomes a Square representation, I don't think it's While it's entirely possible that he becomes a Square representative, I don't think it's going to be the case, and instead I think that Gino is more resigned to being one of those upgraded Mii costumes we saw with Cuphead and Sans. I know a lot of people really, really do want Gino, but Cuphead and Sans getting their own music track, I think Gino could be getting the same thing as well.
Steve.
Mince Raft Steven is a character I was initially very, very opposed to because of the fact that I thought if Steve gets in, Banjo is done so. But now that Banjo's in, I'm fine with Steve completely, but I don't think he's going to be getting in. I think he's more resigned to, again, like Gino, being a Mii costume, potentially for Mii Swordfire, despite the immense potential he had for a moveset himself. I think maybe one thing they could do, instead of a music track, since Minecraft itself isn't too terribly memorable in terms of its music, potentially give Steve a stage instead to go with him. That way Minecraft is represented fully in a pseudo character and a stage.
Ryu Hayabusa.
Ryu is a character who very nearly made the list, mostly because I couldn't think of many reasons to not include him. A legacy character, really popular, would be a really nice surprise and satisfy fans in the East and West. It seemed like a no-brainer to include Ryu, but there's somebody on the list who took his spot, and honestly, it could be switched out with him at any time, which I'll mention when I talk about that character. So yeah, there's a lot of characters that I think could have been in, but unfortunately, because of the reasons listed, I don't think these 4 are. Sorry to Resident Evil, Gino, Minecraft, and Ninja Gaiden fans, but these guys are not, in my eyes, gonna make it onto the list. With my honourable mentions out the way and discussed, let's get started on who I think is going to constitute Fighter Pass 2.
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash is a character that I'm incredibly surprised wasn't actually within Fighter Pass 1. I was fully expecting Crash to be our 5th and final DLC character for the first pass, but obviously we know now that wasn't the case. Crash has a lot of things going for him right now. He's got a ready and built-in moveset, he's highly fan-requested, and one thing that I think puts him above a lot of other characters just generally is that he's both a legacy character and a modern character. Essentially the first Fighters Pass, if you look at it, was comprised of modern characters and legacy ones. More modern characters being Joker and Byleth, and legacy characters being Terry, Banjo, and Joker. Crash is in a very unique position that he fits both of these criteria, with his rich lineage on the PS1, as well as his modern resurgence in CTR Nitro Fueled and the Insane trilogy. Crash, out of all the characters I'm going to talk about on this list, is a character who I think is the most likely, and I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if he kicks off Fighter Pass 2.
Travis.
When I talked in the honorable mentions section, I mentioned a character on this list could have potentially been swapped out for Ryu Hayabusa, but I feel like this guy here, Travis Touchdown, is just that smidge more likely than Ryu. Travis's home series, No More Heroes, originally debuted on the Nintendo Wii before going to PS3 later on, and No More Heroes 3 is coming out very soon. The cross-promotion factor is pretty real for Travis, but I also think he could be just a really nice out-of-left-field pick, as while he is discussed, he's not as mentioned often as certain other characters on this list even. Travis would be just a really cool character to be in the fight and could be a really unique swordsman. Yeah, again, another sword character, but I think with his suplexes and moveset potential, I think Travis could bring something really special and just be really cool to see in action in the ultimate fight.
Rayman.
Rayman is a character I predicted would be part of Fighter Pass 1, and as we know now, that wasn't the case. At the time, it just made sense to me that if Nintendo was choosing the DLC, they would let their good buddy Ubisoft get a playable slot on the roster, that being their golden boy, their poster child, Rayman. That obviously wasn't the case, but Nintendo was also choosing the DLC this time around as well. While I think that does play into Rayman's favour, there's a couple of bits and bobs that sort of put me off. Mostly the fact that he has a spirit, and we're totally unsure at the minute if base game spirits fully deconfirm characters. Personally, I forget which video I saw it on, but the point was raised that do base game spirits really deconfirm? Like, did Nintendo think down the line, oh, we're definitely going to be making DLC of this game 3 years after release? So I think it's decently likely that Rayman's still maybe being considered for a playable slot. That, and the fact that with Byleth, Ubisoft was given 2 Mii costumes, Altair from Assassin's Creed, and the Rabbids, who, while they've spun off into their own thing, originated within Rayman. If they were going to give Rayman anything other than a fully playable slot, why wouldn't they just give him a Mii costume then and there with those 2? Granted, he could be getting an enhanced Mii costume like Sans and Cuphead got, but I wouldn't be surprised if Rayman is still being considered for a playable spot, and, potentially, could be entering as part of Fighter Pass 2.
Doom Slayer. Master Chief.
There are no FPS reps within Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I think that's incredibly interesting. Smash, at this point, is a celebration of gaming as a whole, and given the massive relevancy that the genre had around the late 2000s, early 2010s, it's really interesting to me that we don't have a rep from this genre yet. Yeah, we've got Joker toting a gun and Snake with an artillery of weapons, which are found within these types of games, but we don't have a rep specifically from a first-person shooter, and I think one of these two would be perfect to fill that spot. Halo was a massive, massive hit back in the days of the original Xbox, and continued to be one of Microsoft's flagship franchises for years and years to come. Master Chief's inclusion would be one of those big mind-blowing moments like Joker or Banjo, like, oh my gosh diddly dang, Microsoft actually gave Nintendo Master Chief to use? Like, that would be mind-blowing and interest a lot of people who maybe don't usually look into Smash. Doomslayer, I think, is probably the one I would prefer more out of these two, given the fact that I am slightly biased. I did just finish Doom 2016 a couple of days ago, but I think Doomslayer, much like Crash, is in a very unique position in the fact that Doom is both a legacy franchise and something modern, with stuff like Doom 64 and the original few titles being big hits with older fans, whereas Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal are also very, very relevant for people who play them today. I don't care whether it's a gravity hammer, energy sword, or chainsaw being swung around in Smash, I just would really like to see FPSs get a representative, and one of these two would be a perfect fit. Or Captain Price, or Soap. I would pop off for any of those. The next rep I'm going to talk about, I haven't fully nailed down yet, but I have a feeling that something that is already heavily represented in Smash could be getting their 9th representative. What with Byleth being a part of Fighter Pass 1, I wasn't initially considering something like this, but when it was revealed that they were going to be part of Fighter Pass 1, it became a little bit more likely that obviously heavily represented franchises aren't immune from getting new reps as well. And while I was considering lumping Zelda as a franchise in with this, I feel like the bonus Mii costume sort of may write out the fact that we're getting a Legend of Zelda rep as part of Fighter Pass 2. I think that as part of Fighter Pass 2, we could be getting a Generation 8 Pokemon.
Rillaboom, Cinderace, Inteleon, Urshifu, Toxicity.
One of these 5, I would not be surprised at making it in and potentially being the Byleth of Fighter Pass 2. Yes, it's common that people complain about, Fire Emblem having too many representatives, but Pokemon is tied with it as second most represented. And yeah, while it is one of Nintendo's flagships, we don't need another Pokemon rep. That being said, if you made me choose one of these reps, I'd be tempted to go with something like Toxicity or Rillaboom. Rillaboom would complete the type triangle in Smash after however many games, after it looked like we were going to be getting potentially Dartrix in base game and Incineroar was chosen instead. I think that Rillaboom would be a neat enough representative because maybe he could bring something different. Toxicity comes from the idea that, like Lucario and Mewtwo, he's just a popular Pokemon that I've seen a lot of people using within their teams in Gen 8 playthroughs and whatnot. I wouldn't be surprised if Gen 8 gets a rep, especially with the DLC coming up for Pokemon Sword and Shield, the Isle of Armor obviously being a thing, and the second pass for that game coming out. Cross-promotion could be a very big thing, and having a Pokemon like Urshifu, who comes from that new expansion being in Fighter Pass 2, wouldn't come as a shock at all, again, especially since the Fire Emblem Three Houses DLC was shilled at the very end of Byleth's Direct. While it's not something I would necessarily want, I feel like we're definitely going to get another rep from Pokemon, or at least from some Nintendo franchise. There are others that need the representation more, but I feel like that DLC pushes Pokemon to the front running for this. There have been a lot of characters on this list that would be really cool to see in Smash. The likes of Crash, Rayman, and pretty much everyone I mentioned on this list would be a really neat addition to Smash Ultimate and bring something really unique to the table. But I don't want any of them quite as much as I would like this character to be in Smash. If Banjo was my most wanted and the character I sort of was betting on getting in Fighter Pass 1, this is the exact same for Fighter Pass 2. My most wanted character, and the character I think is going to be the big whoa character of Fighter Pass 2, is
Sora!
This character has gotten a lot of attention recently. Sora from Kingdom Hearts, my favourite video game of all time, which I've loved since I was a child, was talked about very recently as being, quote, deconfirmed from Smash Ultimate. Thankfully, that has sort of been discussed a bit deeper in. It was found that the person stating this was doing so on a gaming predictions video, where he also states that he thinks both Sora and or Master Chief will get into Smash. So we're going to just get that on the table right now. That does not deconfirm Sora. Sora in Kingdom Hearts generally are so widely loved and so recognisable now within video games generally that Sora would pop off a lot of people, make a lot of people really, really excited. Yes, you know, you have the argument of, oh, he's another anime swordsman. We have Hero who would play really similarly to him, but I don't think that's the case. Sora is such a unique just character. His series is so different and so just vibrant in terms of games and whatnot. As a playstyle, he could have his weird combos. He could utilise different parts of his moveset and his arsenal from the games within his different attacks. I made a whole video on this a little while ago talking about how I think Sora would be handled, and while some of my thoughts have changed on that, the vast majority remain. I think Sora, while I wouldn't call him certain in the way I wouldn't have called Banjo certain back in Fire Pass 1, I think Sora has a big chance of being a big shock reveal for Fighter Pass 2, and I think Sora stands a very, very decent chance of making it in to Ultimate's Fighter Pass 2. So, just to recap right at the end here, my predictions for Fighter Pass 2 look like this. Crash Bandicoot, Doomguy, or Master Chief as a first-person shooter representative, Rayman, Travis Touchdown, a Pokemon or Nintendo rep, leaning more towards Rillaboom or Toxtricity, and Sora. While I'm not 100% certain on these, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about the predictions I've made and about the predictions that you guys have got, and I would love to hear about them down in the comment section below. I love discussing this stuff with you guys back when I made my initial DLC video, and I would love to do the same again for this one. So please let me know down below what you think is going to be included in Fighter Pass 2. Thank you all for watching. I've been Hob Hunks, and I will speak to you all later. Bye bye.